I was bummed out, Stranger Things, and then I was watching this interview with the Duffy brothers who wrote it, and I thought this was interesting because you've seen Stranger Things, right?
Yeah.
And so 11 and like the guy that they call Papa, you know, he's doing experiments on mind control, and the creator of the show, the Duffy brothers, one of them was saying that was all rooted in real history. From the MKUltra project.
Oh.
And then, so I went down this rabbit hole looking up MKUltra.
Where they were using psychedelics
So MKUltra was this scientist, this old school scientist, thought with enough LSD that was government funded. The government bought literally all the LSD they could get their hands on. Back in the day, you know, it's the 60s, $250,000 in LSD, which they said was all the LSD in America. They bought $250,000. And then they would run experiments on people, a lot of prisoners, a lot of, you know, people that were poor. They'd run these experiments on them with LSD. And his thinking is because they thought Russia and the Nazis were doing it already, where they could use mind control. So if you had a set of beliefs, they gave you enough LSD and pumped all this propaganda in you, they could clear whatever base you start from and then insert their ideas. But really, then they were also working on mind control because they thought the Russians had figured out how to use mind control. And also they thought they were curious if the mind could work kind of how 11 does. Yeah. Obviously it's ridiculous. But what they found out is they did a lot of evil shit. And what happens is they gave these people so much LSD, it really wired them the wrong way. So if you look at the people that went through that MKUltra, let me give you a few. Whitey Bulger, do you know that?
I did not.
Whitey Bulger from Black Mass.
I heard a guy named
the New England Cartel or Charles Manson was heavy in the MKUltra. Is
that true?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is all.
So this
facts.
is all true. So Whitey Bulger and
Charles Manson. Ready for this? The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski went through it.
Yeah.
But the only thing about that's a little dicey with Ted, when they were interviewing when he got caught, you know, someone brought up when he was at Harvard, they ran all these mind control shit on him, the MKUltra shit, and his mom said to his brother, because his brother had a suspicion that maybe it was his brother who's the Unabomber, you know, who's the biggest manhunt, $50 million in taxpayers' money. And his brother read the note and was like, God, that sounds a lot like my brother. Damn. So he went and asked his mom. And was like, there's no way fucking Ted could do it. You believe that, Mom? Like, there's no way. And he brought up those, the MKUltra stuff when he was at Harvard. And she goes, it's not that. She goes, that didn't help, but it's not that. She's like, your brother's always had an issue. He has a sociopathic type of way. And she goes, I can tell you what happened. When he was very young, he got some illness. And for whatever reason, they put him in this hospital. He was young, young, like 6 months old, 8 months old, enough where he can kind of remember. But you know, at 6, 8 months old, you really need your mom, your parents. But they put him in this hospital. This hospital, for whatever reason, had this program where they kept the kid for months. And the parents could only visit once or twice a week for an hour. So he thought his parents left him. Oh my God. She goes, he started off for those first 6 months, sweet kid. We get him back after that. He never forgave us. And his brain was wired different. He came back and he was very aggressive, mean, very direct. Like it just cut the cord from caring about people.
What the fuck, man?
And she's like, that's when he changed. And she goes, but MKUltra definitely fucked him up, didn't help. But he's always had issues ever since that day. Since we got back from the hospital, we didn't recognize him. And his brother was like, Jesus Christ. But you look at MKUltra, it's nutsos, man. But basically, after all the experiment with LSD, all that shit, even the guy doing it was taking LSD. But they gave Whitey Bulger for a year straight when he was in prison. For a year, he was in prison. Straight, for a year straight, he ran the MKUltra program. A year straight, LSD every single day. What? He started to go nuts. When he got out of prison, he told his boys, I'm going to find that doctor. I'm going to murder him with my bare hands. And that was his goal. But then, you know, he was on the run and just couldn't get there.
Because they are doing new experimentation with psychedelics. So remember we did
microdosing.
You remember when we did DMT? Mm-hmm. So you know what ayahuasca does? Do you know what the difference is? It's really interesting. Ayahuasca is DMT, but the ayahuasca stops your body from breaking it down. So you kind of stay in that state for like 4 hours.
Oh, interesting.
5 hours, yeah.
So is it more like a concentrated DMT?
I think it's an elongated trip. So you can have a trip that'll last 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours.
And we did which one? DMT.
We did DMT, pure
gotcha.
DMT. So when you do it, it's like so intense for 3 minutes. Can you imagine that going for?
Oh, no, not for me, sir. Not for me.